Welcome to the story of Puss in Boots, the magical beginning of a clever cat in boots. No one could have guessed that the smallest inheritance, an orange tabby cat who could talk, would change a poor boy's life forever. With a feathered hat, brave little boots, and a brilliant mind, this clever cat sets off on an incredible adventure filled with surprises and magic. Kids, get ready to explore the wondrous journey of Puss in Boots, where kindness, cleverness, and a touch of mischief can make the impossible come true. A miller had 3 sons, and his only possessions were a mill, a donkey, and a cat. The sons ground the grain, the donkey fetched and carried it, and the cat caught mice. When the miller died, the 3 sons divided the inheritance. The eldest took the mill, the second took the donkey, and the youngest was left with the cat. The youngest son was disheartened and said to himself, "I've received the worst share. My eldest brother can grind grain. My second can ride the donkey, but what can I do with this cat? Perhaps I can make a pair of gloves from its fur, and that will be the end of my inheritance." The cat, who had overheard his master's lament, spoke up. "Dear master, please don't kill me for a pair of poor gloves. Instead, have a pair of boots made for me so I can go out and be seen among people. Then you'll see that your fortune isn't as bad as it seems." The miller's son was astonished to hear the cat speak. Just then a shoemaker passed by, and the son called him in to make a pair of boots for the cat. When the boots were ready, the cat put them on, took a sack, filled it with barley, tied it up, slung it over his shoulder, and walked out on 2 legs like a human. The reigning king had a fondness for partridges, but they were rare because they were hard to catch. The cat knew this and devised a plan. He went into the forest, opened the sack, scattered barley around, and hid a snare among the grass. Then he lay in wait nearby. After a while, partridges came down to eat the barley. As more and more entered the sack, the cat pulled the cord tight, trapping them. He then carried the sack straight to the king's palace. At the gate, the guard shouted, "Stop! Where are you going?" The cat replied, "I wish to see the king." "Are you mad? Since when does a cat visit the king?" One guard scoffed. Another guard interjected, "Let him in." The king is often bored. Perhaps this cat's antics will amuse him. Before the king, the cat stood on his hind legs, bowed, and said, "Your Majesty, my master, the Marquis of Carabas." The cat invented this noble title, sends his regards, and presents you with these partridges he has just caught. The king was delighted with the plump partridges. Overjoyed, he ordered that the cat be allowed to take as much gold from the treasury as he could carry. "Be sure to tell your master that I thank him for the gift," the king said. Meanwhile, the miller's youngest son sat gloomily by the window, his head in his hands, pondering how he had spent all his money on boots for the cat, unsure if it would amount to anything. Just then the cat entered, placed the sack on the floor, untied it, and poured out the gold before his master, saying, "Master, this is a small token to repay you for the boots. The king also sends his regards and thanks." Overjoyed with his newfound wealth, the miller's son didn't question how it came to be. As the cat removed his boots, he recounted the entire tale to his master and added, "Now you have enough money, but this is just the beginning. Tomorrow I'll put on my boots again, and you'll become even wealthier. I've also told the king that you're a Marquis. The next day, as promised, the cat donned his boots, went hunting, and presented the king with another sack full of partridges. This routine continued daily. The cat brought game to the king and returned home with gold. The king grew fond of the cat, treating him like a trusted courtier, allowing him free access to the palace. The cat was now free to come and go as he pleased in the palace. He strolled through the corridors, lay in the sun in the courtyards, and rubbed against the courtiers' legs. Everyone liked him, and the king often called for him. One day, the cat overheard the king talking to his daughter. The king said, "My dear child, I have heard many good things about the Marquis of Carabas. If he is as noble as they say, he would make a fine husband for you." The cat rushed home and said to his master, "Tomorrow, bathe in the river at dawn. Leave the rest to me." At sunrise, the young man did as he was told. As he bathed, the cat hid his master's clothes behind a bush. As planned, the king's carriage passed by. The cat ran to the road, shouting, "Help! My master, the Marquis of Carabas, is drowning." The king recognized the cat and stopped the carriage. Servants rushed to pull the young man from the water, and the king offered him fine clothes and a seat in the carriage next to the princess. The princess was charmed by the handsome young man, and he, in turn, fell in love with her beauty. Meanwhile, the cat ran ahead of the carriage, warning the peasants along the road. "If the king asks who owns these fields, say they belong to the Marquis of Carabas. If you don't, you'll be chopped into tiny pieces." Frightened, the peasants all agreed. When the king passed by and asked, "Who owns these fine fields?" they all answered, "They belong to the noble Marquis of Carabas." The king was amazed at the wealth of the Marquis and grew more impressed. The cat continued on ahead. Eventually, the cat arrived at a grand castle owned by a fearsome ogre. The cat boldly entered and spoke to him. "I've heard you can transform into any animal, even a lion. Is that true?" The ogre roared with laughter. "Of course! Watch this!" And he transformed into a lion, making the cat leap in fear. Then the cat said, "Impressive! But surely you can't become something tiny like a mouse?" "Of course I can," boomed the ogre. He turned into a mouse and began to scurry around. Quicker than lightning, the cat pounced and ate the ogre in one gulp. When the king arrived, the cat greeted him at the door. "Welcome, your majesty, to the castle of the Marquis of Carabas." The king was astonished. He toured the splendid castle, saw the wealth and beauty of the estate, and believed the Marquis to be the richest and most noble man in the land. That very day, he offered the young man his daughter's hand in marriage. The wedding was celebrated with great joy, and the cat became a lord, no longer having to chase mice, unless he wished to for fun. A happy ending for the smartest cat in the world. And so, from a small, clever and brave little cat, Puss in Boots helped his poor master rise to greatness, marry a princess, and become a prince. As for the cat, he was made a royal minister and lived in the palace, never needing to catch mice again, unless he felt like it for fun. This magical tale reminds us that with cleverness, kindness, and a touch of mischief, anything is possible, and they all lived happily ever after. The end. Stay tuned, little friends, for more magical adventures to come. If you enjoyed this story, please click the button below to subscribe and give me more motivation to make more videos. Thank you, everyone.